Hi, I'm Nelson, and this is the IELTS and General English training. In this video, we are going to focus on the IELTS speaking test. Specifically, we are going to look at the would questions. Would questions are common in part 1 of the speaking test. What are would questions and how do you answer them? These are examples of would questions. We call them would questions because they begin with would. For example, would you like to move to another city in the future? Would you like to change your job? Would you like to live near the sea? Would you like to learn another foreign language? Such questions are called would questions. How do you answer would questions? 5, 6, 7, and 8. All these are examples of would questions. At the end of this video, you should be able to answer such questions in an acceptable way. When the examiner asks these questions, he or she is listening carefully to one aspect of your answer. What do you think is the most important aspect of your answer for these questions? The examiner, I repeat, is listening carefully to one important aspect of your answer. Look at the following example. Would you like to change your name? Let's see how the student answers this question. No, I don't want to change my name. In fact, I think I'm really fond of my name because it has quite a deep and significant meaning. And as well as this, my mother chose it for me, so she doesn't want me to change it. Actually, I'm sure I will never change my name. Is this a good answer? Probably not. Is this a good answer? What is good about this answer? What is missing from this answer? Certainly, there is something that is missing from this answer, which the examiner is looking for. For most of these questions, you should use the second conditional tense. The second conditional tense is what we call if to. The examiner is looking for one thing, that is if to in your answer. If you use if to very well, you will score highly, and you add some details, of course. In fact, the examiner is expecting you to produce an example of this verb tense. What is if to? If to sentences have two parts, the if clause and the main clause. In the if clause, we use the past simple. In the main clause, we use would plus the infinitive. For example, if I lived near the sea, I would eat fresh seafood. Number 2, if I had the time, I would go for traveling. This is what we call if to. Would in the would questions, the examiner is looking for your good use of if to. The grammar aspect of these questions is very important. As a basic rule, if the question uses would, then you need to include at least one example of would or might or could in your answer. The second conditional is used to talk about a present or future time to describe an event that is unlikely to happen, an event that is hypothetical. So in that case, you can only use the if to. If I worked in a factory, I would be tired every day. But I don't work in a factory, and it's unlikely that I'll work in a factory in the future. That is if to. These are the questions, and all these are would questions. These questions require you to give a hypothetical answer, an answer that is not likely to happen. These are all examples of would questions. Would you like to live in a foreign country? Now let's use this question to develop our answer. Of course, you begin with a conversation filler, 1, 2, 3. These phrases have the degree phrases and the conversation filler. As I've told you many times, English is an indirect language. So native speakers speak in degrees and use very many conversation fillers. Like we always do, you have to pick one from here. But for now, you can copy all the 3. If structure. After the opening phrase, you put the if structure. Would you like to live in a foreign country? If I had the chance, I would consider living in a foreign country. After the opening phrase, you go to the if structure. Reason structure. Why? Why would you like to live in a foreign country? Before you give the answer, you need to put this linking phrase. This linking phrase has the degree phrases, I guess, could, I suppose. So you choose one and you add it to your answer. After this, you give a reason. But how do you give the reason? To give a reason, you use if to. If I lived, for example, in America, I would, you continue. If I lived in America, I would what? You add and you add the details. Now use a linking phrase to introduce your second point. As well as this, you add another reason why you would like to live in that particular country that you have chosen. Sometimes you can give a negative sentence, a negative answer. Not everyone wants to live in a foreign country. Maybe you don't want. In that case, after choosing the opening phrase, you say, even if I had the chance, I wouldn't consider living in a foreign country. I wouldn't consider living. The word consider is followed by verb plus ing. Reason structure. If I lived in America, I wouldn't. You wouldn't what? Say something that is bad in another country and yours. Of course, in such kinds of answers, you have to compare. Compare what is in the other country and what is in your country. You add another reason why you wouldn't like to live in a foreign country.